The title of this section is How to Know What You Truly Desire. At this point, you may be thinking that identifying your heart's desire would be easy. But in my work, I have found that it's not easy for most people. This is because we have not been taught to focus on our heart's desires. We are trained to use our mind and not our heart. I can't begin to tell you how many people have told me that they don't know what they want to be, do, or have in their life. They're still searching. That's because they're trying to find the solution by using their head or their logical mind. The problem is when we use our head or our logical mind to figure out any solution, we can only access the information that's already there. All decisions made with the mind are filtered through what we already know, which is based on our past experiences. So we are already defeated because it's impossible for the logical mind to see possibilities. The mind only knows one thing: survival. And the way it survives is to look at the past and make decisions about the future based on what happened in the past. It knows nothing else. The heart, on the other hand, knows no limitations because it's connected to your authentic self, your essential silent partner and source energy. So how do we identify our true heart's desires? One easy way to identify your true heart's desires is that they are always tied to a strong emotion. This is important because having a strong feeling is what provides the motivation to get things done in life. It also gives us a high level of success, satisfaction, and fun in the process. Your true heart's desires also produce something called creative magnetic energy. This creative force is the only force strong enough to sustain the persistent focus and action necessary to reach your heart's desires. Your life is much too short and precious to waste your time and effort on things that you think you should, ought to, or must do, be, or have. Yes, there are times that you must do what you need to do for your family, friends, employers, community, and your country. But even this duty is a pleasure when it's aligned with your true heart's desires. It's a fact of life that you will always encounter some have-tos on the way to your want-tos, which are your heart's desires. Some of these have-tos may be unpleasant, difficult, expensive, or even painful. But, and I hope you're getting this, you won't mind doing them if you are in the process of manifesting your true heart's desires. For example, if your heart is set on getting a university degree, you will have to take some courses that you don't like. If you want to get in shape, you will have to exercise. If you want to lose weight, you will have to change your eating habits. If you want to own a successful business, you will have to take certain risks. However, you won't mind your have-tos while pursuing your heart's desire because the rewards far exceed the price that you have to pay. When your have-tos are coming from your mind rather than your heart, your life will be frustrating, depressing, unfulfilling, and even miserable. If you think about it, what makes work work? Work is work when you don't like what you're doing. When you love doing something, even if it's physically or emotionally demanding, you don't mind the effort required. In fact, you might even call it fun. Uncovering your true heart's desires and exposing them to the light of day can be, at least until you get the hang of it, a little difficult and a little emotionally frustrating because you're not used to dealing with what you truly feel at the heart level. Most of your life you're trying to live out of your head, not your heart, so you're not in touch with what you truly desire. What I would like to do now is give you a 3-step process that you can use to help you to uncover and open the doors to your true heart's desire. However, before we begin, I want to warn you that these steps may be a little scary. Specifically, here's what I want to warn you about. Once you open these doors, you cannot go back to where you are now and live a happy, joyful, and fulfilled life. The reason for this is, once you discover what you're about to learn, you will be compelled at a conscious and unconscious level to manifest your true heart's desires. So you may experience some temporary, uncomfortable feelings before you align yourself with your heart's desires. However, you won't regret doing this exercise because once you've gone through these 3 steps, you will be on the road to more true freedom and happiness than you've ever experienced before. I'm going to walk you through the 3 steps. You don't actually have to do them this moment. You can do them after you've completed this lesson. But make sure that you do them, because you will be missing out on something that could dramatically change your life. Okay, here they are. Step 1. The first thing that I want you to do is to ask yourself this question. What would I like to have in my life that I don't have right now? I'll repeat that question. What would I like to have in my life that I don't have right now? This is one of the most important questions you will ever ask yourself. The question is designed to uncover your true heart's desire in different areas of your life. Ask that question and then take a moment and see what comes up for you. Make sure that you write down the answer. Ask yourself the question again. What would I like to have in my life that I don't have right now? And keep writing down whatever comes up for you. If the answer doesn't come up right away, don't be concerned. Here are some alternate questions that you can ask yourself to find the answer to this question. What would I love to do if there were no restrictions or obstacles? If money was not a consideration, what would I like to do? What makes me very happy? What makes me laugh? What stirs my emotions in a positive way when I think about it? What do I always seem to think about when I daydream about something that I'd really like to do, to be, or to have? What would I love to do to help others? What characteristics or strengths or personality traits would I like to have that I don't have now? What type of physical appearance have I always wanted to develop? What do I want from my spouse or children? What do I want from others? What do my best friend and I do for fun? And here's a good one. What did I used to do that I enjoyed, but I don't do now? Each one of these questions are designed to elicit a strong emotional response. Not all of them are your heart's desires. You will need to go through these questions again after listening to this lesson and write down the answers. For now, let me continue to walk you through the steps that will reveal your true heart's desire. Okay, step 1, you asked yourself the question, what would I like to have in my life that I don't have right now? Now ask yourself this question. If I had that in my life, or I was that, or I could do that, the answer to the first question, then how would that make me feel? Now ask yourself this question about each desire that you've identified with the first question. This will help you to sort out your answers to the first question. Asking the second question helps you to get past your superficial desires and focus on what is truly important to you. I want to emphasize that the stronger the emotion or the feeling that you have after answering the question, the closer you are to your true heart's desire. But your search is not over. You must now complete step 3. In order for the answers to the first 2 questions to be effective, you need to measure the strength of your heart's desires. So, on a scale of 1 to 100, how badly do I want each of those things? You must become very sensitive to the intensity of your emotional responses to what you've discovered in step 1 and 2. This sensitivity will help you to accurately measure the intensity of your desires. Intensity is everything when it comes to the achievement of your heart's desires. 1 or 2 degrees of intensity can make a huge difference in the results that you achieve. As an example, if you want to cook some vegetables, you must first boil the water to 212 degrees Fahrenheit to make the water boil. If the temperature is between 95 and 106 degrees, then the water is only lukewarm and nothing will happen. 212 degrees is very close, but it still won't do. Only when the temperature reaches 212 degrees Fahrenheit will the water begin to boil and bring you the results that you want. The seismograph or Richter scale measures the magnitude of an earthquake between 0 and 10. Have you ever wondered why there's such a dramatic difference between an earthquake with a 5 and an earthquake with a 7 on the Richter scale? Because each increasing number on the Richter scale represents an earthquake 10 times stronger than the number beneath it. So an earthquake measuring 7 on the Richter scale is actually 10 times more powerful and 10 times more destructive than one registering a 6. Now, just as the Richter scale measures the earthquake's intensity, you must access the intensity of your desires, feelings, and emotions by using the Heart's Desire Intensity Scale, which has a range from 1 to 100. So here is what you need to do. I want you to take one desire at a time and really focus on it. And while you are doing that, I want you to imagine that there is an intensity meter attached to your body like a lie detector. As you think about your heart's desire, I want you to take a look at what your meter measures on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale. Is it a 1 or a 100 or somewhere in between? Whatever your answer is, make sure that you write it down. Now, here's how to evaluate what you've written down. If what you desire measures 1 to 20 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale, you can be sure it's nothing more than a whim, passing fancy, wish, or something that will give you temporary gratification or momentary pleasure. These things are a waste of time. If what you desire measures 20 to 40 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale, more than likely, these are the things that you think you should, ought, or must do, be, or have. These include duties, obligations, and assignments given to you by others, or any motivation or prompting from other people. You can also be sure they are far from being a true heart's desire. If what you desire measures 40 to 60 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale, you're beginning to get warm, but it's still not your heart's desire. If what you desire measures 80 to 90 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale, it's usually something that's important to you and something that you have a strong interest in and have an internal motivation to achieve or experience. You're very close now. If what you desire measures 100 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale, this is a true heart's desire. This is what will make you feel truly happy and fulfilled. In short, the things that you would never do in a million years are 1 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale. The things that you're sort of interested in, may like to do, or anything that you feel half-hearted or not totally committed to, are usually somewhere between 40 and 80 on your scale. However, your true heart's desires are always 100 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale. Also keep in mind that 100 is more powerful than 90 on the scale. Your heart's desires on the scale are like a 10 on the Richter scale. And here's something else that's important to understand. When you pursue desires that fall below 90 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale, and you encounter the inevitable problems and obstacles in reaching them, you will find that you won't have the ability, drive, or motivation to get through them. You will get discouraged and then you will give up. And when that happens, you will be disappointed and even start blaming yourself because you don't have what you want. A 90 might be fine if you're taking an exam, but a 90 on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale will only get you 90% of the way there. Does not have within it the innate ability to release the full internal power or magnetic creative energy within you. Only desires that measure 100 can be the source of your underlying enthusiasm and discipline. They are the only desires that will provide you with the persistence and the ability to overcome any and all obstacles. The intensity of these heart's desires will energize your project, your family, your business, your relationships, and your life. The 3-step process that I've just given you is the most important thing that you can do right now to improve the quality of your life. And here is some more good news. Once you gain the skill of recognizing your 100s on your Heart's Desire Intensity Scale, you'll never have to do this exercise again. As you go through this exercise, sometimes you'll have to ask yourself the questions several times to get to your true heart's desire. Some of us have ignored our true feelings and desires for so long that they are buried deep within our unconscious. How quickly and how accurately you identify your heart's desires depends on how quickly you are willing to get out of your head and into your heart. Let's use an example of how this works. We will use money as our example. What would you like to have that you don't have right now? Your answer might be to be financially independent. If this is your answer, you will also discover that being financially independent does not rate 100 on your heart's desire intensity scale. Why? Because you really don't want financial independence as your true heart's desire. The reason being financially independent is not a true heart's desire is because what you're truly after is what financial independence will give you. That is what will bring you your true heart's desire. So knowing that being financially independent is not your true heart's desire, ask yourself the same question, but in a different way. For example, if you said, to be financially independent, and you realized that it was not a 100 on your heart's desire intensity scale, then ask, okay, let's say that I was financially independent. What would that give me that I don't have right now? Your answer might be, it would give me freedom to do as I please. Okay, you're getting closer, but you will still see that this is not a 100 on your heart's desire intensity scale. Now ask yourself another question. Okay, if I had financial freedom, what would that give me that I want but don't have right now? What feeling would that give me? Keep in mind, as you do this, you are always looking for the feeling. Then you may say, well, I could spend more time with my family or my spouse, or I could quit working at a job that I hate. You will see that as you continue to ask the question and go deeper, your answers will begin to have more emotion attached to them. This is what you're looking for. At first, you will probably be coming from an intellectual level. It will be your mind talking and not your heart. The key to all of this is the emotional response that you feel when you answer the questions. The less emotion you feel, the farther away you are from your true heart's desire. A low score on your heart's desire intensity scale is your mind talking, not your heart. The scores that produce a high emotional response of 100 are your true heart's desires. Let's say your answer was, if I were financially independent, I would be free from stress and worry about paying my bills. This would not be far from your true heart's desire. But let's take a look at that answer again. What words jumped out of that sentence? I'd be free from stress and worry about paying my bills. Was it paying the bills? Or was it free from the stress and worry? If you chose the latter, you would be right, because paying the bills is not what you're really after. It's being free from stress and worry. This is what you're truly seeking when you started out with to be financially independent. What you want is to be at peace, to be happy. If that is the case, then there are many ways that you can reduce stress and be happy without being financially independent. There's nothing wrong with being financially independent, but don't fool yourself. What you really want in life is to be free from stress and worry. You want to be happy now. Knowing that being free from stress and worry is your true heart's desire, you now have many more options. In other words, there are many ways that you can free yourself from stress and worry. It doesn't take being financially independent to do this. Okay, you need more money. I'm not arguing with that. But just how much more money would it take? Is it possible that you could find ways to get rid of some of the worry and stress in your life by making some changes in your current spending or saving without having to be financially independent? The point here is that you must be honest with yourself about what you truly want, your true heart's desire. When trying to discover your true heart's desires, pay close attention to the responses and emotions elicited by the questions that you're asking. When people tell me their heart's desire, I listen to see if it's their head talking or their heart talking. If I see it's their head talking, then I know they're not connected to their heart's desire. So how do you know when you hit on your heart's desire? You will inevitably have some kind of emotional reaction. Our heart's desires always center around how we feel as a result of having what we desire. There must be some strong emotion when you finally identify your true heart's desire. You may feel great joy, you may even start to cry, because the long-hidden desire that has gone unfulfilled for so many years has finally come to the surface. You may even get sweaty hands, or your heart may start pounding with excitement. Sometimes it's just a calm, peaceful understanding, or a simple, doubt-free feeling inside you that you've finally uncovered your true heart's desire. Trust me, no matter how you react to discovering your true heart's desires, you will know it when it happens. There won't be any doubt. In deciding if something is a true heart's desire, here's another clue. Pay attention to the words that you use to describe it. If you use words like probably, maybe, possibly, perhaps, or I think, what you're describing is not your true heart's desires. Phrases like I think, I should, I ought to, or I need clearly indicate that what you want is not your true heart's desire. In doing this exercise, always make sure you're not putting obstacles in your way. In other words, don't say, I would love to be, do, or have this if it weren't for that person, this situation, this lack of money, or whatever obstacle you put in the way. Forget the obstacles. Based on what you've learned so far, I hope you can see that any obstacle that may come in your way can be overcome by using the dynamic power of deliberate creation. So forget the obstacles. Put them out of your mind and concentrate on your true heart's desires. When you discover your true heart's desire, there will also be no doubt in your mind that you can find a way to achieve it. Here's an important clue. If you think something is a true heart's desire, but at the same time you feel it's too difficult, or there may be too many obstacles to achieve it, then it's not a true heart's desire. When you are tuned in to your true heart's desire, whatever you have to do to achieve it is never a consideration. Sometimes it's painful to keep looking at what you really want because you believe it's impossible for you to achieve it, so you never look at it. But not looking at it or avoiding it doesn't make the feelings go away. It just pushes them deeper down into your heart. Identifying your true heart's desires is the only way that you can truly live a happy and fulfilling life. Anything less will only bring you more of what you don't want. The problem is many people think they know what they want, but what they want comes from their head and not their heart. So they work hard to get what they think that they want, but in the end, they fail. And then they try again and again. Or they spend all their time, energy, and money to pursue something that they think is their heart's desire, and then when they obtain it, they still feel empty. The reason they feel empty is it's not their true heart's desire. More often than not, they're have-tos, shoulds, and ought-tos. When we feel we have to or ought to or should do something, we will resist. But when it's a true heart's desire, no resistance occurs. Keep in mind, no amount of willpower will allow you to do anything that you consciously or subconsciously resist. The willpower required to achieve a goal only exists if there's a heart's desire behind it. When your true heart's desire is propelling you, your willpower is automatic and your success is assured. You can always tell when people are working towards a true heart's desire by the results they achieve. When they're working on their true heart's desire, they're enjoying themselves along the way and they're determined not to quit until they achieve it. They are learning to do the things that they need to do to get what they want, even though they may face obstacles along the way. When you desire something with enough emotional intensity, you will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to get it. When you're pursuing your true heart's desire, you won't let a lack of knowledge or information keep you from realizing your goal. Even if you don't have the necessary knowledge or information, you will find a way to obtain it. So it's never a matter of if you can learn it. It's a matter of, do you really want to learn it? You can learn how to do anything that you want if you truly want to succeed at something that you really want to do. If you listen to your head instead of your heart, you will be off purpose most of your life. If you haven't figured it out by now, your heart's desire is also linked to your life purpose that we talked about earlier. Unfortunately, most people are trying to create their life by using their mindset instead of their heart set. The problem with using your mindset instead of your heart set is that your mind will fight you at every turn. It does not like the unfamiliar and it does not like change. When you receive new information that is in conflict to what your mind believes is possible for you, a second energy kicks in. It filters this information and then judges and tries to protect you from anything that it perceives could harm you, which means anything that's different from your current map of reality. This is why you cannot trust your mind to lead you to a successful conclusion. Because your mind is programmed to resist change, you will also likely experience some anxiety or maybe even some fear in your attempts to apply what you're learning in this program. Your mind will only accept this information if it coincides with its current truth. However, always remember that your current truth is your mind's perception of life based on your past experiences and its anticipation of the future. In addition to feeling threatened, whatever your mind perceives as new, it also perceives as hard work to be done, which is why your mind doesn't like change. Your mind uses every trick in the book to justify its decision to maintain the status quo by telling you things like, "Why aren't you satisfied with what you already have? It's going to take a lot of energy and time and money to make this unnecessary change. What if it doesn't work out and you lose what you have already?" In other words, it gives you all the reasons why it's too difficult and why you should avoid pursuing your desires. So you have to make a shift from your head to your heart. If you don't, and you just let your mind control your present patterns, positions, and conditions, all of which defend your present state and resist any change, it will overwrite or actually eat away at your true heart's desire, and it will die an instant death. Remember, to identify your true heart's desires, you must pay attention to your heart set and not your mindset. With a little practice, you will develop the ability to recognize the difference. Having a life in which everything that you do is driven by your heart's desires, the things that you love to do, to be, or to have, is the most satisfying and fulfilling life that you can have. When you embark on a journey to identify your true heart's desires, you will be open to a new way of living, a life where everything that you've ever wanted will be available to you. Or at the very least, you will be on the path toward it and loving the trip along the way.